Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been such an enriching experience for me as being a member of the planning committee. I hope it has also been enriching for you to be able to participate in sharing our knowledge. This post-COVID, finally we get to gather, and it's hosted in 2022, not 2021. So we're happy we were able to gather. Sweet Tides has done an excellent job catering. I would like to there are two ladies that own Sweet Tides. They're partners. It would be Shauna Buness and Devin Johnson. They are the ones that have pulled off all these fabulous feasts for us, doing the continental breakfast each morning, the luncheon we had yesterday, and the dinner you are about to be served. Dinner is going to be buffet style. If you are an elder and you need assistance with getting a meal, just go ahead and raise your hand and we will have our Outer Coast team. Someone from the Outer Coast team will be able to help get your meal and bring it to your table for you. So make sure that you raise your hand. They'll just be kind of keeping an eye out. Before we break to eat, I just want to tell you a little bit about what our evening is going to look like. So Doug and Amy Moig are going to start us with a prayer. Then you'll be able to go and plate up. There are a few different courses. So you have appetizer, you have boiled shrimp, you have a seafood option, a pesto stuffed pork loin option, and of course dessert. They've got quite the spread over there for you. And so once you're plated up and everybody is seated, then I'll be coming up and saying some thank yous and introducing our first speaker of the evening, which will be Mr. Chris Bryant. He was our youth keynote speaker, and then he will be sharing a bit with our group here this evening, and then he will be followed by Dr. Tina Woods. In between some of this stuff, we'll also be saying thank yous, giving shout outs, and if time permits towards the end, I'm aware there are a couple people that would like to share, and so if we can make that happen, we will do our best to accommodate that. I will be your hostess for the evening, so if you don't know me, my name is Brooke Leslie, or Wush Kika. That is my Tlingit name. I am a grandchild of the Luknahadi. My late grandfather, Dick Stokes, was Luknahadi from the Kluk or Coho house, and my grandmother, Welma Stokes Churchill, was Haida, so I am Haida, Raven, Yaklanos, double fin killer whale. And I will be keeping things in order this evening, so mind your manners. With that, I'll pass it over to Doug. Ganesh Jish.
So, Jim, Bob, and Mita, and then one other lady, I can't remember her name, the one with Virginia, conducted our ceremony along with Susan. And it was a fabulous ceremony. They did a great job. And I don't know that you usually do acknowledgments like that, but I know that they were relatively terrified. But we were totally moved. And I'm very proud of being in their company. So maybe we could acknowledge them. And then they said that I need to do sort of a word from the Tlingit. I happen to be Tsimshian, and so to drag this out, but I'm not going to do that because they said this is a prayer for food, so you're going to have to wait for a speech for another day. And this is my wife, Amy, and we work together all over the state. And the things that just like that, the crew that helped with the healing ceremony, we need each other, and we work together to do that. So with that, join me in prayer. Grandfather, Great Spirit, Creator of all things, ask that you bless the food, bless the people that are here, bless the hands that created the food that we are about to eat, and ask that it be there to nurture our bodies, our hearts, our souls, as we have had done for this week. We ask these things. Aho.
All right, dinner is served. While we're plating up, Martina Sidney from Teslin had a raffle for a butterfly shawl, so we're going to be drawing the winner. I think I'm going to let Harriet draw the winner. Is that okay, Harriet? Ganesh. The winner is Madeline Jackson for the butterfly shawl. Are you after me or him? Okay.
cool. I never heard it all the way through. I'll do my best.
Yeah, you'll get it. I'll keep going. You got it.
Okay. That was incredible. Oh my God. That was
Some of them, yeah.
And we have another raffle winner announcement. This one came from Lovey Brock's Artisan Table, and it's a gift basket with jam, smoked fish, dried seaweed, a few other things. And this one, you would actually have to keep your other ticket to know if you won, so I'll be reading the ticket number. And the number is 526269. Check your tickets. And the number is 526269. We have a couple of thank yous that we want to say. Thank you. We're going to start by thanking our local Wrangell Cooperative Association, the WCA, for hosting the Sharing Our Knowledge Conference, welcoming us here, and also helping with some funding to be able to make this conference possible. I'm going to sheesh, WCA, Hawa. And we also want to thank the Forest Service, who also helped with some funding to make this conference possible. And they're also collaborating with us tomorrow for the field trip to Ann. So Ganesh Jish, Wrangell Forest Service. Hawa. If you have signed your name up to go to Ann, a little later this evening, we'll be confirming that with you. But that field trip excursion is going to be departing at 7:30 a.m. in front of the Stikine Inn building. You're going to want to check in at 7:15 for that 7:30 departure, and you will be returning to Wrangell at 12:30. And so we will confirm with you, but a little later this evening, and also have you discuss how to pay for your field trip.
You're gonna have to.
If you were enjoying the music during our meal, we want to thank Gu Zhao. He is the High Chief of the Gedans of Skidegate. Ganeshjish Gu Zhao. How If you've noticed people walking around throughout the conference, helping clear plates, helping clear tables, answering questions, helping with the food, helping at our different events and introducing speakers. We have a team of people here from Outer Coast, led with Matthew Spellberg. They came from Sitka. They also brought Bob Sam with them. And they have been so fundamental in being able to make this conference possible in terms of manpower, but also helping to provide some funding. And I want to give them an opportunity to say a few thank yous, because I know that that is something they had requested to do before we get our evening started. The Outer Coast team, just give them a big round of applause.
Cheesh, Brooke, acclaimed with cheesh. Takat Yuhan, Shiawudaneki, Achtuwu Segu, Achtuwu Yak Yuxatini, Ya Yidat, Gnilcheesh, Yeti Uk. Thank you so much for being here, and Gnilcheesh, Hayiiki. Thank you so much for inviting us. Outer Coast had the great privilege and responsibility of serving as a volunteer team for this conference, and we have been just so honored by it. We know that sharing our knowledge is a precious, precious, precious Southeast Alaska institution, and it has been our great, great honor to carry the responsibility of helping out a little bit with this event. But the real credit goes to the event's organizers, the organizing committee. I mean, other than me, I'm on the organizing committee, but I'm not thanking myself. And to the people of Wrangell, the Stikine Kwan, Atlain Gnilcheesh, for your incredible generosity in welcoming us. And thank you to those of you on the committee from Wrangell who have been our hosts here, Brooke Leslie, Jocelyn Estes, Cindy DeWitt, and Virginia Oliver, who have been just extraordinary. Atlain Gnilcheesh. We have a few gifts here that we'd like to give out in thanks to all of you. We have little gifts for the organizing committee, so would members of the organizing committee please stand? Yeah. stay standing for a second and we'll run gifts to you. In the meantime, I also want to give a huge thanks to Shaguna Star, Bob Sam, and to Yedi Cook and Ashich Tla of the Kix Adi in Sitka. I might ask you both to stand too. And I'd like to invite the three of you, if you want, up here with us because we consider you part of the Outer Coast family. We're just so honored to work with you. Atlein Gnulchish, Atlein Gnulchish. These three people contributed so much to the ceremony today. They were so magnificent, as were so many others, Jocelyn and Virginia and many others. And forgive me, there are some names I don't know, but all of you held us up and you showed us how to bring healing and reconciliation. But I want to give gratitude to these three people because they have also been our teachers, our faculty in Sitka, where we are, and they have taught us so much of what we have come to learn, what we hope to learn, what we still need to learn about being guests on Tlingit Ani and about Tlingit Kustiyi. Away at Tlingit Gulchish, and I want to say one last Gulchish once again to the people of Wrangell and to the Shtakin Kwan at Tlingit Gulchish and to the WCA. Is Ed Relatos here? Is the president here? Ed, we have a little gift for you in thanks to in thanks for your hosting, and please, we hope that you accept this gift on behalf of the people of Wrangell and the Shtakin Kwan. Atlein Gnulchish, Atlein Gnulchish. Good eating. Bon appetit, everyone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kick off the evening with our speakers tonight. And I have somebody special here that is going to be introducing our first speaker. They played basketball against each other in high school and middle school. They go back a real long ways. And this person is a Wrangell local, and there'd be no better person to introduce our first speaker of the night besides Harry Churchill. So come on up, Harry, and introduce our guest speaker.
How do you do that? Oh, Chris Bryant. I'm going to tell a story about Chris Bryant. Well, I guess we kind of call him the boogeyman. I don't know if you guys know about Chris Bryant, but his sophomore year, he ended up taking down our best basketball team we've had single-handedly, dropping 37 on us. And that's pretty much what we all kind of know him for. But Anyways, I wasn't expecting to introduce him at all, but here is Chris Bryant.
Deutschen. I'm tall. I'm gonna fix this really fast. Just a really quick shout out here. I had this awesome opportunity to collaborate here at this conference, but it wouldn't have been possible without a call from Brooke Leslie and a collaboration with the Outer Coast Conference. And I got a nice card from the folks from Outer Coast. And I just want to read that really fast because I think it kind of captures the essence of all the things and all of the moving parts that it takes to make something like this, really special and meaningful. So I just want to read this. It was a really nice letter from the folks from Outer Coast. Dear Chris, thank you so much from all of us at Outer Coast for the thoughtful, spirited, and energizing collaboration this weekend. We have loved spending time with you at Wrangle. The work you do is inspiring people to live healthy, thoughtful, movement-filled lives, and that has inspired us as well. We hope to have a long and active friendship with you, and we can create movement, joy, and wellness together in the future. beginsTina's Outer Coast crew. Let's give a shout out to the Outer Coast crew once again. So I'm going, oh cool, we're already here. Ooh, okay. The hand mic. Everybody hear me better? All right, thank you. So I'm going to share a little bit tonight about some of the work that I do, but also I want to offer a framework of thinking in the wellness space. But I always like to start my presentations with a quote. And this one is from the late Maya Angelou. And I believe it captures the essence of what's kind of happening here. And I had the privilege to be able to attend the healing ceremony. Shout out to the people who put together the healing ceremony. Round of applause. And in Deutschen, thank you for letting me be a part of it. But this quote comes from Maya Angelou, and it goes like this. If you must look back, do so forgivingly. If you must look forward, do so prayerfully. However, the wisest thing you can do is be present in the present gratefully. Maya Angelou. Powerful words. In Delaware, Christopher Duwayu, Tsimshian, Ganhada Dimtihu, Metlakatla Duhatku. My name is Chris. My name is Chris. I am Tsimshian from Metlakatla. I am of the Raven clan. My mother is Lisa Bryant, and my father is Paul Bryant. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, is the Raven clan, and she is Barbara Williams, and my grandfather is John Fawcett. So in my day-to-day life, I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm a personal trainer. I live in Anchorage, and I consult. I build curriculums. I partner with wellness organizations that are trying to make their people, places, and organizations a little bit healthier, a little bit more mobile, a little bit stronger in the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, social aspects of wellness. So I need objectives because I'm very kinesthetic and I have to talk with my hands and I move around all over the place. And so I need something to keep me on task here. So what I'm just going to share briefly before I introduce Dr. Woods is I already did my introduction. I'm going to talk about a holistic wellness model. and just something for us to kind of, it's a way to have us look inward and look at other aspects of our wellness as we are in this place of peace and we're in this place of healing. So holistic wellness model and wellness as a tool for healing and thriving. So I had an awesome conversation with Dr. Woods before, and we were just kind of talking about, kind of how we were going to go about this evening and how we can add to the pool of meaning, to make it meaningful for all of us. Here's some photos. So up to the top left is my very first wellness camp that I did in 2018. That was in the Metlakatla gym. And I didn't mean to put so many sports photos up, but it was a very integral part of my life. I learned very, very many lessons from just being in a gym and getting beat up by my older cousins, my older family members on the basketball court, and also just in gym classes and, just lots of good times in that space. So movement has always just been like an integral part of my being. And I'll talk more about that when we get to that model. So, so to the left here is my first wellness camp. And I kind of threw it back to the middle. That middle one is me playing in high school. You might recognize some of the people that I'm playing against in that one. So the person at the very bottom who's not fouling me is the person who just introduced me, so Harry. And then there's Tony Harding, definitely taking my arm off as I'm going up for a layup. But the purpose of just these photos is just kind of giving you just a little bit of a picture, literally, of just not a celebration of resilience in a way. Not to like humble brag, but I had an opportunity to play basketball at the highest level, and I worked really hard for it. It was really awesome. I had a really incredible experience, and I love to give back now, and I give back in the form of these health and wellness camps. So this photo over here, I'm teaching a nutrition portion of a wellness clinic for adults. I partner with the Yakutat Community Health Center up north in Yakutat, and we did some really cool workshops up there. So, played for the University of Alaska Anchorage, go Seawolves, and it was just a really unique experience. It had a lot of ups and downs, but it also taught resilience and perseverance. The wellness wheel. This is a framework that I like to use whenever I teach a workshop. I like to, it's a great way to paint a picture of what wellness could be as an ideal. And there's so much more. I like to, before I was exposed to this, I spent a lot of time really focused in the physical realm of wellness. I wanted to be strong, so I like to lift weights. I like to work on becoming quicker, faster, stronger. Lots of emphasis there. And it wasn't until I hit some roadblocks in my playing career where I started to see some different weaknesses or some areas that I needed to work on or to address, especially in the mental well-being space. So, just a quick overview of each of these aspects. So physical, that's what we do. We get strong, we move our bodies. That's kind of the way that we prevent disease, the way that we interact in time and space in the here and now. the mental aspect of wellness, you can think of it as how we respond to life's ups and downs. And it's the simple mental well-being definition that has a deeper meaning implication for our lives. Spiritual wellness, it allows one to live a life consistent with their own belief. Emotional wellness is being able to deal with your thoughts, feelings. Social wellness is a way that we interact with each other, how we interact with our peers, how we interact with our loved ones. And then this one has just been like a really, really big one in my life, is the cultural wellness. And it's just been a really, really meaningful experience this week to just be able to be grounded in that cultural piece. So I brought this up to just turn it back to you folks to see, is there a way to begin to look at the other aspects of your wellness? Like maybe you're having a little bit of a struggle in the mental aspect. And so I like to use this framework just to share the different aspects of wellness. So the wellness wheel. So I think it's a great tool for healing and thriving. And I want to finish this part with a quote. And it's from a fitness trainer that I really admire. He has a really, really cool perspective. His name's Brandon Collinsworth. He's traveled everywhere from Africa to the Amazon. And so he has these really, really cool indigenous perspectives on wellness and self-love and self-care. And so I'm just going to read this part. And so here it goes. If you really want to fix the world, fix yourself. If you really want to understand the world, understand yourself. If you really want to heal the world, heal yourself. If you really want to change the world, change yourself. And if you really want to love the world, love yourself. This theme was about perseverance and resilience, and I just want to say Deutschen for letting me be a part of this conference. Deutschen to all of the people that had to endure difficult, challenging times where there was immense suffering. You give me strength to continue to do the work that I do. So Deutschen. Schlagaudium. Did I say that right? Schlagaudium. It means I'm done. So I have the privilege now to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening. I had a really wonderful conversation with her. We shared some interesting commonalities. We both kind of like to run marathons. We also don't have our native names. And I think she's gonna share a little bit about that tonight. I don't wanna get into your conversation tonight, but she's gonna speak a little bit more about herself. Her name is Dr. Tina Woods. I'm a huge fan. Let's give her a warm, warm welcome.
I'll use this one. Yeah. That's yours. Is that yours? Just go exit out. There you go. Good evening. Before I introduce myself, I will take a moment to acknowledge the land that we're on, and to say thank you to the conference organizers for inviting Tlingit and Haida, our Community and Behavioral Services Healing Center team, and some of our staff from Recovery and Reentry and our Community Advocacy Program, these lovely ladies sitting at the front table there. I also want to acknowledge our elders in the room. I want to thank you for being here, for sharing your wisdom. I want to thank the youth in the room. Thank you for being here. I really watch people when I'm at conferences, and I saw such deep listening from the young people, really intentional listening. And I want to thank you because as you listen, I know that you're going to carry on the traditions. You're going to keep our traditions alive, and our elders need to hear that. And so thank you. Ong Ong, hello, hello, I'm Tina Woods. I'm the daughter of the late Maria Shishnikov. My mother was Unanga, originally from St. Paul Island, or Aleut. I'm also the daughter of the late Juan Duenas Leon Guerrero. My father was full-blooded Chamorro from the island of Guam. I'm one of 11 siblings. I'm second to the youngest. This picture here is really special to me. It's the only picture that we have of all 11 of us together. And it was at, unfortunately, it was at our mother's funeral. But it's a really special picture. I used to, those of you with a number of children, you'll probably identify with this. My mom used to call us, and she would name everyone until she gets to the one she wants to. I see Kirby laughing because he knows that story. But it would be Nadista, Becky, Pachi, Julie, Rena, and then, Tina. And then the boys are Juan, Ben, Nikolai, Sammy. So that's my siblings. And this is my family, my precious family. My husband's Koyakan Athabaskan from Rampart. And our daughter Jasmine is in college at the Alaska Pacific University in Anchorage. And then our boy Hunter, he just started junior high. Our family just moved to Juneau. And then that's Layla, our puppy, who's a year old now. If you know anything about St. Paul Island, dogs are illegal. And so most times, families that move out of St. Paul and get dogs, they end up giving them away because they don't know how to take care of them. I've fallen in love with this little puppy. She's very naughty. In Aleut, we call that Dika. Professionally, I'm a licensed clinical community psychologist with a rural indigenous emphasis. And I work for Tlingit and Haida as the Senior Director of Community and Behavioral Services, the division. It's a brand new division at Tlingit and Haida. And as I sat and listened throughout this week, I thought of the division that I became responsible to help manage. And the programs include family court services. So we have court investigator addressing guardianship and adoption. We have family youth services, and that includes our ICWA department. We have reentry and recovery. So we have non-congregate shelters where we house individuals that are returning citizens from incarceration and individuals that are seeking to maintain a sober life, sober living. And then we also have our community advocacy program, which addresses victims of crime. And then finally, we have our behavioral services department. And the reason why I wanted to mention that to all of you is because as I listened over these past several days, there are times that my heart just grieves over the programs that I have overseen my entire career, which funds come into to address the soul wounds of our people. And so I've just been really pondering that throughout this conference. And by the way, I will say this is the best conference I've ever been to in my entire conference attending. This was amazing. Yeah. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Today, as I observed that healing ceremony, Jim, my good friend, I have been working with Jim and have known about Jim's story for at least 15 years now. And so today, I was very emotional. I was very, very emotional to watch and observe everyone participate in healing today. And I almost couldn't pull myself together because it really is why I do the work that I do. So last June, Tlingit and Haida hired me to help build a healing center. And the purpose behind that was the gap in services across the nation. It's everywhere. This pandemic has really elevated mental health and addiction to the surface like you wouldn't believe. People were in their heads quite a bit during this pandemic and really sitting with things that have affected them probably most of their lives, and having to face that in social isolation was very hard. And so, but we opened doors last November virtually, and by February of this year, we had a waiting list, and we continue to have a waiting list. In our healing center, we really practice holding space for people to heal themselves. I always remind our team, we're not here to fix people, we're here to create space so that people can heal themselves. Tonight, I'll plan to speak with care. It's one of our tribal values, and ask in advance for your forgiveness if I make a mistake, if I try to attempt to say something in the Tlingit language. I plan to be strong and have courage. I've seen that displayed over the last several days. So I'm gonna allow myself to be a little vulnerable, and I feel strength in this room, so I feel like I can do it. That's where the wound is the cure that comes in. I bumped into one of my high school roommates from Manachkum, Miss Brady in the back there, comes from such a strong family. And she gave me so much strength to be up here this evening, to be quite honest. Because I found myself grieving over the fact that I don't have, when I found out Chris didn't have a native name and he's like a basketball star, I was like, all right, I'm good. But I just found myself grieving that I don't know my language. I mean, I just introduced myself by saying ong ong, which is hello twice in Aleut. So my story is, when I was 5 years old, my mother left St. Paul Island to have a baby in Anchorage, because you have to leave the village to have a baby. She was having her 11th child, and my two brothers and I, Juan and Ben, we were shipped to Oregon to stay with our dad until my mom had the baby. And then we would fly back to return home to St. Paul. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that they were still married, and I said, I'm gonna have a baby sister. And those were some fighting words, and so my dad got an attorney and shipped us to Guam, and he made a deal with his mom to raise me and my brothers. And the deal was, if you raise my kids, I'll sign over the land and the house. And so, long story short, I had endured many, many years, 7 years separated from my mom, zero contact. A lot of physical, emotional abuse. But that's not what I'm up here tonight to talk about. I'm up here tonight to talk about how we heal through each other. And I'm up here standing as a very humble yet strong Aleut woman, Unangat woman. And I've decided, when I stood up here, especially after talking to my old high school roommate, that I need to stand up here and feel strong. Since I have moved to Southeast, this is my third time coming back to Southeast. I don't know what it is, but this is my third time coming back. I did my pre-doc in Sitka, and I returned to practice as a psychologist, and then now I'm back running the healing center. So, but my healing started at the King Ider Hotel in St. Paul because I was behind the desk and tourists from all over the world. So we have over 200 species of birds that people come from, Japan, Germany, you name it. But they'd go on their tours, they'd come back, and they would ask me behind the desk, they'd buy stuff. They'd ask, what are you? You don't look like you're from around here. And I would say, I'm Aleut. And then they would say, but you're something else. You don't look like you're from here. And then I'd say, well, I'm also Chamorro from the island of Guam. So then the stories would start. They want to know, how did you get here? How did your mom meet your dad? And what I found is it became therapy. It became therapy. I began telling my story almost every tour that came in. It just happened naturally. And the more I told my story, the more I began to heal. So I believe in telling our stories. My mom didn't know what happened to me. My mom had suffered a lot from the Aleut internment and her own journey in life, and she died by alcoholism. So my mom did not even know the trauma that had happened to me. But tourists from all over the world knew what happened to me. And that's okay because we heal in different ways. So at the Tlingit Haida CBS Healing Center, I just wanted to point out this logo. This logo was made by Michiana Hutcherson, and the two outside figures represent the mind and body. They're holding up a center figure, the spirit. The mind and body figures hold an eagle and a raven in their hands, representing the key role that our culture and balance play in our overall wellness. The face in the belly of the spirit figure is a face of our ancestors that live within each of us, reminding us of who we are. And as David Katzik always reminded us, it is within you. All of this is held together by the outer circle, representing the safe space that our programs provide. So when we began to design and develop our healing center, we wanted to make sure that people understood what we do and how we heal people. And so, you know, these are just some of the key factors. We really addressed, when we address people that come in for healing, we address mind, body, spirit. That's the holistic healing. And Chris, I love, if he's in here, I love your work. He's probably outside playing basketball. He's right there. Okay. I love your work because elders teach us about the importance of balance, and that's basically what you are doing with these youth. Interconnectedness. When people have feelings of shame, guilt, sorrow, anger, and hopelessness, it can result in forgetting of our true nature and your interconnectedness to all people, animals, land, and spirit. And so we also know that culture heals. We've been hearing that over the last several days. And it's critical to healing work to uncover the degree to which symptoms and life challenges are rooted in historical and intergenerational trauma. We have been getting an increase of elders coming to us, and we have a pretty young team. And elders want to seek healing, and healing for elders is sharing their story. And so we are creating space for elders to just share their story. And but it's also fun too when elders engage in mindfulness breathing exercises and when you hear laughter. So laughter is also a huge part of our healing. So this is our team here. I'm really, really proud of this team. We have 8 healers. Michaela's shy. She's right here in front of me, Michaela. She's only about a week old on the job, maybe. But these are, I really want our people in the room to be proud of this, because these are individuals who chose to go off to school, to get their education, and to return to serve our people. They chose to seek their education, to address and hold space for everything we talked about over these last several days. I want to acknowledge at the start of this conference, Judge O'Gara. She started with the notion that we live in an integrated society. We coexist. And I really loved that because I always described that as dancing in two worlds to find what works. So our future generations, they crave to be a part of the culture. They crave to learn the culture. They recognize that the culture heals. A major part of our work is also addressing our own stuff. So this is something that we really cultivate in our healing center, that these providers on the screen also come from a history. And we also have sometimes baggage that we need to deal with, pain, soul wounds that we need to deal with. And what we do is we hold each other up. We create that space for one another, and we hold each other up, and we hold the space for tears when staff are feeling a little maybe burnt out or feeling secondary trauma. And we really take care of each other, because it's also very important. Yeah, so healing comes in different forms, and I was inspired by Brooke and Lola. Those of you that had a chance to hear Brooke talk about her little one, her and Lola went berry picking on Brooke's birthday. And you know, I silently just smiled, because to me, that's healing. That's a part of our healing. In Western psychology, that's mindfulness, and that's how we translate that stuff. So while our team is honored to be a part of creating healing space, everyone's doorway to healing is different. And I just really want to put that out there, because this presentation is to hold each other up, and you could find healing with the person next to you. I have found so much healing here in the last several days. I found myself in tears quite a bit, because this place is so powerful. And I feel it, and I feel strength here. In our field of behavioral health, we're trained, all of those ladies, we're all trained as westernized, Western modality. But what I encourage staff is take your training and deliver it in a culturally responsive way. Translate it into something that our people, that it will resonate with them. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And we don't have time to reinvent the wheel. And when an elder comes in and they don't want to fill out the paperwork, don't make them fill out the paperwork. You sit with that elder and you give them your time and your heart. They're coming to us and they want to share their story. But with the story about Brooke and Lola, Brooke reminded me the importance of mentioning going further upstream, and that's basically what Chris is doing in his work. Because yes, we've talked a lot about a lot of soul wounds, and sometimes we get very impatient because we want things fixed now. But the fact is that those of us that work in the field of behavioral health, unfortunately, we're all too aware of some of the traumas that our people carry, and so it needs to happen parallel. We need to go further upstream and focus on our children and change the narrative. And that's really what Brooke reminded me and really inspired me during this conference about changing the narrative, and it can happen simultaneously. So we don't have to put all our energy into, addressing the crisis. We can do both. We can do it all. It's like a spectrum, and we need to just kind of travel along together, because that's how we're going to get to a place of healing as a community. So this is a project here. Culture Heals is a project that the tribe has engaged in with building an online platform. It's a self-guided roadmap to understanding and addressing, it's actually pre-addiction and addiction, but it's not just about addiction. It's about knowing our history and knowing our culture. But when we began this, we adopted it from New Mexico, and so it's not yet where it needs to be. I'm going to show you a sample. But what we knew is that our people need something now. And we have over 33,000 tribal citizens across the nation, so this is something that's available to them. So I'm going to play. Let's see if I could figure out the technology here. I'm going to play. So this is the platform here, and it is mobile phone, or it's smartphone. My mouse isn't working. I wonder. Okay. Okay, I'll use my finger on the touch screen. Okay, so you can, all of you have access to this, and you can sign up for it, but it is smartphone accessible, and we have a growing collection of Alaska-based videos. We only have about 14 that are produced by the tribe, and we're adding to that. And then the rest of the videos on this platform is our partner in this process, Dr. Fitzgerald. And it addresses, it's education basically, it's psychoeducation, and they're only about 3 to 4 minutes each, so it's really good for learning. It can hold your attention. You can learn quickly about how the brain is hijacked. This is not just for individuals, it's for family members too. So I'm just going to play an example at the bottom here on historical trauma. It's only about 3 minutes.
That trauma lives within our people and lives within our bodies, but also resiliency lives within our body and strength lives within our body. And we're here to make sure that that's passed on more so than the trauma.
I marvel at people that are surviving and being successful because they've all experienced the same thing I've experienced, and probably even far greater. You don't talk about things of your family, and you don't talk about things in your past, or you don't talk about what's hurting. It just was.
With Indigenous folks, we have intergenerational trauma that goes back like through relatives and the way that people have been brought up, and it just kind of continues to go on and on and on. And if it's left untreated and nobody ever really experiences that healing, it's just the way you live.
It's kind of like if you have red and blue and you mix it together, you can get purple. It's just being with the people that you love. You absorb who they are, and they absorb a little bit of you. And I think that's kind of where historical trauma carries. I could never really understand that, but I think that's where historical trauma comes from, is, you're with them, you're part of it. They don't talk about it, but it's still coming.
There's so many things that have happened through colonization and assimilation. We haven't been asked to give up our culture. It's been ripped from us. If you look at the history of boarding schools, or, even ANCSA, if you look, the words, kill the Indian, save the man, that was what was used about us.
A lot of our generation being taken away from their mom and dad. And if they were taken away, some of them were adopted out, and some went through a lot of horrible things. that shouldn't have happened to children.
Historical trauma that our tribe has experienced, they've lost a lot of their culture. They've had land taken away from them. They've been sent away to boarding schools. They've lost their language even, or their like spiritual practices.
It's something that was unfortunately passed on from generation to generation. And if we think about our coping skills and, you know, once upon a time, you know, we didn't have drugs and alcohol. Our coping was our families, our ties to each other.
So when you go to the site, you can actually log in and create an account. Let's see if this, I'm having to use my touch screen here. And again, this is available to any of you. How many of you had like 10 passwords? No. Yeah. One more time. Okay. Deep breath. The caps were locked. Okay, so when you log in, you'll see your name will appear at the top, and you know, you can click on. If you go to the bottom here, you'll see a series of interviews were conducted for Central Council. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the Alaska collection, and you'll see, and the one I really wanted to play, and I made a mistake I clicked on because we talked so much about it. I wanted to actually click the one about culture heals. But you can explore. Let's say you wanted to explore mental health challenges. You can click on whatever it is that you want to click on of these, and you hit submit, and then what it does is it populates the collection that's in there. And so it's mixed between the Alaska collection and those that are already on there. So it's basically education. And the reason why this is important is because sometimes people don't even have the words to describe their hurt, or the families don't have the words to describe what somebody might be going through in their family to help them. So it's a platform that we developed, and it's moving forward with ongoing changes. Let me get back to this. And so that's just another resource that we have available for our tribal citizens and their families. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and I want to acknowledge over this conference, those of you that didn't get the chance, Ethan Pettigrew. I was really confused because I haven't seen Ethan in a long time. And I thought he was Unanga. What is he doing here? He must have a twin. He must have a, and I was super confused. Is he here? Is Ethan here? No. Okay. All right. But I really appreciated his presentation on decolonizing our education. And I just wanted to just briefly talk about you know, some of the work that I did around Alaska Native student success with my dissertation, just briefly. But in the process, I wanted to see if there were any new reports on our Alaska Native students in the university system. And the report, the 2021 Alaska Native Student Success Report, is out. And one of the questions on that was, what challenges are Alaska Native students facing? Tell us about the most important concerns that you want to see at the university. And so I just selected a few and, just flip this. So these are, they don't feel good reading them, but flip it. and reframe it, because we're doing it. We are addressing this now. So more promotion of Alaska Native culture, heritage, and our language. They want to stop going through the emotional toll and energy to explain the past for understanding the statistics that we observe today. It's too much westernized education, not enough traditional indigenous knowledge-based education, and instructors making negative comments about our people with no background of truth and knowledge. So these were just some of the qualitative data that came up in that report. And the hope that I want to give our young people is the same advice I was given in preparing for my dissertation. I was really stressed out, and I went to my chair and I said, you know, you guys aren't letting me talk about the things that we really need to talk about in this research. And, you know, there's reasons for that, because it's research, it's Western research. And I was so emotional about it. That's only one of many times in the program that I became really wanting to quit. And so what I was told is, Tina, get through this, get those credentials at the end of your name, and then do it your way. And that's the fuel I needed. I needed to hear that. And that's the same advice I would give our young people. When you're struggling and you're pursuing your education in the system, you know, in the Western education system, you know, you probably have your own stories and experiences. Get through it. Seek mentors and let them hold you up. Seek people that care about you, tell them what you're going through, and get through it, because that's the advice that I was given. So my dissertation, I did just a basic study to get through it on talking circles, because it's very meaningful to me, using that as a tool. I did a comparison between talking circles and mainstream student support groups for college life adjustment with Alaska Native students. And this picture is a picture of my daughter at that time. A young woman from Utqiagvik painted it. And if you look at it, one side is a cap and gown and the other side is a Aleut headdress. And Sally Swetzoff, an elder from Atka, translated. I said, Sally, how do we translate education as my future, culture as my life? And as we all know, you cannot translate directly from English to our language, because our language holds so much emphasis on who we are as people, heart and soul. And so it ended up being the days that are coming belong to the youth. And so that was a really special day. It was a packed room. Jim was there, and other Alaska Native elders that I journeyed with, because as I journeyed my Western education, I had a number of Alaska Native elders that I worked with along the side of me from tribes throughout the state. And so it's been quite the journey. But it was a packed room, and I remember my faculty getting kind of angry because it was too full. And in fact, some elders that showed up late were told they weren't allowed to enter, and they had to sit off to the side, and that was hard to swallow. But this was for our people. To the young people in here, when you graduate with your education, it's not about you. It's about our people. And so that was a special time in my life. I bet you're wondering why there's corned beef on the screen. So while my Western education, there were many times that I wanted to quit. I have to admit that it also, and I'm going to grab this one just so I can move around a little. You can hear me fine, yeah? So I'm at UAA, and I happened to be going to the vending machine, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And the flyer said, "The Aleut story, the untold story." And I thought, It's at the Beartooth Theater and Pub, and I just found it amusing, and I thought, I'm going to go watch that. I'm Aleut, I'm going to go watch that. And so I went, I got my food, and I walked in, and when I walked in, I saw a number of Russian Orthodox priests, and I saw a number of elders from the Aleutians and Pribilofs, and it was a packed room. And I just remember being intrigued, you know, hugging people, happy, kind of like AFN. It was exciting, but I didn't know what was happening. And then the film started. And I began to watch this story about my people that I didn't know. My mom had already passed on, and I didn't know what happened to our people. I didn't know why, when I turned 18, I got a check for $24,000 called corned beef money. And no one told me what it was for, nothing. I had no clue. And no 18-year-old should be given a check for $24,000. It looked like an IRS check. And so it makes sense today, right? It was reparation from the federal government because I was, my mother was a part of the internment. But it was shocking because there my grandpa was testifying to the federal government in Unanga. And it was just shocking to me to learn about my people in this way. And so I asked the late Alice Petrovelli, who was friends with my mom, I said, how come my mom never talked about this? The only thing I ever heard is, hey, when are you turning 18? By people on the island. And it was all about corned beef money, but no one talked about the story behind corned beef money. And so Alice told me that the reason why my mom didn't talk about it and the reason why they didn't talk about it is because it's not in the textbook and they were considered liars, and so the best thing to do was just to put it away, to just forgive and move on. The reason why I share that story with all of you is because it's important to acknowledge that these last several days of sharing these stories of, you know, a lot of pain that our people have been through, they matter in the future generation healing. Because if we don't know, my mother was, she suffered from alcohol, and that's how she died, and she was a victim of domestic violence. My mother, she suffered, and then she lost her children, 3 of us, 5, 6, and 7, never to see us again for 7, 8, and 9 years. And she suffered. And I didn't know what happened. So what do you think happens if you don't know what's going on? And she doesn't know how to parent, and I'm traumatized from Guam because that's where my trauma happened. It was a hot mess. But it's important to tell our stories. So just a little bit on, I'm still learning. I'm still learning quite a bit. And I just wanted to mention that the 1924 Indian Citizens Act, it did not apply to the Aleut people until the 1970s. The fur was valuable, right? In fact, this I don't want to call it a kuspuk, but it's like an Aleut style type of regalia that the fur on this is some of the fur from the 70s. It was taken from inside my late mother's coat. And this was made for me when I graduated. And so I appreciate wearing it this evening because I feel like she's with me tonight. But all of the stories that we are sharing throughout my journey as a psychologist, sometimes the question was posed, why do we continue to talk about it? Well, because some of us don't even know about it. Some of us don't even know what happened. And so as a psychologist, these are the things that I'm seeing, right? These are the things we've talked about, is there's disproportionality. And I always knew for the last 15 years of study, it went deeper than the statistic. So sometimes news reporters want to ask about, what do you think about the statistics? These are human beings. I don't like to talk about the statistics. For the young people, I just want to encourage you to seek a mentor. Seek more than one mentor. When I was studying and I wanted to quit because I was struggling, because I made a mistake, I got in trouble for saying my people. And I was told by a supervisor, you cannot say that. You are now becoming a psychologist and you are now separate. And I remember my eyes filling with tears, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what was happening to me. And so I called a mentor of mine. And he said two things. He said, number one, he said, Tina, he said, you know, think of a forest of trees. Because I told him, I said, if I had known it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have done this. And so the first thing he said was, I'm glad you didn't know because you need to do this for our people. The second thing he said is, he said, imagine a forest. He always went really deep with his conversation. Imagine a forest. He goes, there's hundreds of trees, and he said, you're one of those trees. And you think you're alone, but you're not. And so seek a mentor to our young people. Eventually I graduated. And like I said, when I graduated, it was a huge success because, you know, all the odds were against me, but I did it. And I did it because I was driven by serving our people because of everything we've talked about over these last several days. This is the late Dr. Rita Blumenstein. She was the first tribal doctor recognized here in Alaska. She was a mentor of mine. And Rita always told me, you started it, so you need to finish it. And so I wanted to acknowledge her this evening because a lot of my journey has involved her. So as I come to an end here, I just want to let all of you know in this room that Southeast Alaska, Tlingit Haida, Tsimshian people, I would dare to say that this is one of the most culturally connected, powerful people I've ever worked among. I am so inspired. I feel so much strength. I feel so much love from the people from this region. I feel connected here somehow. And I have so much gratitude. And so I want to end by acknowledging one final inspiration that happened over the conference. And it's the young man sitting to my left here. And I think your name's Harley. So in the clan house, when we were there, Harley spoke. And when he spoke with such strength. And he acknowledged people in the room. And then he said, I want all of you to know that the people that I just acknowledged, he said, they're not even my blood relatives. He said, these are people that hold me up. These are people that give me strength. And he said, you have to make your own family and draw strength from them. And Harley, that I made it this far. Blame it on him. But that really impacted me. It impacted me because, you know, I'm strong, and I always try to be strong, but I'm not strong without people. And to hear you say that, and then I see Doug and Amy and Jim and Susan, and I see people that have journeyed with me, and I'm not alone. I'm not alone, and I've never felt such a sense of belonging, and that's huge for me. That's huge for my healing. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So as I end, I will just say, please hold each other up. Hold each other up. Take care of one another. Heal yourself and help change the narrative for our future generations. Because when you heal yourself, you heal your ancestors and you heal your future generations. Ganeshish Hawa, thank you.
Can I give you a hug? Yeah, give her a hug.
Yeah.
Hey, we have some things to hand out still. And we have announcements to make about the boat trip tomorrow. So, Brooke, who is in charge of this?
Yeah, I asked him to actually sing a song while we transition before I make those announcements.
You didn't tell me?
Yeah.
And people are leaving?
So we're gonna have, Gujao is gonna grace us with one more song as we transition out of the wonderful time we just spent with Dr. Tina Woods, and then we'll move on to a few more announcements, the boat trip, and there's a couple other people that would like to share with us if you choose to hang out for that. Ganeshish. Hawa. we want to get out there. We want to say thank you to Tlingit and Haida CBS for bringing down your team and clinicians to be here for our conference this week and to provide that extra support through our healing journey. We also want to thank the Nolan Center where we've held our conference and their staff. It's been a couple years since they've had the opportunity to host a conference, and they've just done a wonderful job at hosting us. We have KTOO, who is capturing everything on video, and if you don't know this about sharing our knowledge, it's not just about being able to, for us to gather here, but the capturing of this on video, people being able to get on our YouTube channel, joining us virtually, but also archiving everything that's being shared is essentially the mission of our conference. So it is both bringing people together, but also documenting everything that's shared for our future generations and for our own continued learning. We also have Sarah Betcher, who's here. She's been doing the interviews and the videography for our off-site field trips and healing ceremony. She'll be going to Ann tomorrow and did the youth night. This was our first year that we had a youth component as far as sharing our knowledge conference goes, and it was really awesome to be able to have the youth of Wrangell be able to talk to the Outer Coast team and Chris, both with the school hosting us in a couple different assemblies. So thank you to the Wrangell Public School District for having Outer Coast and Chris come and share with you, but then also kids came to our youth night on Friday night that we hosted, and so we hope to continue to build on bringing in the youth. A lot of people have traveled quite some distance to attend our conference, and thank you for everybody that took this time out of your life and your schedule to travel here to Wrangell. It's not always the easiest place to be. In fact, some people had to wait a few days for weather before they could make it. We have a group of language learners and a justice council from Teslin, a large group of about 25 people. So again, our inland Tlingit, Gunishchish for coming. And Sam, with the Teslin group, did want to come up and share some things with you, so he's going to have the opportunity to do that here after just a couple more announcements. The field trip. Everybody, if you put your name on the list, we are able to accommodate you. It is $100 a person, and that must be paid with cash or check. And so if you have not already paid for your field trip, you need to do so either this evening before you leave or tomorrow. You will be meeting at 7:15 at the dock that's right in front of the Stikine. If you are not sure if you signed up for the field trip, come talk to me afterwards. I don't want to make everybody sit here while I read off 53 names. So 7:15, don't be late. This is a field trip where you're going to be you're taking 2 jet boats down with Alaska Waters. Also Breakaway Adventures is joining us to help bring the extra people, so we didn't have to do a drawing. We can accommodate everyone. This field trip is happening with Alaska Waters, Breakaway Adventures, and in collaboration with the Forest Service. And we're going down to view the cultural significance of the Annan site. So there will be a walking up to see the new observatory. We'll also be seeing the Sealaska Peninsula and an old village site there and some ancient fish wares. In order to view these, we have to go on a minus tide, and so you will have to be able to get on and off a boat, and boots are almost necessary unless you don't mind having wet and muddy feet. There are restrooms aboard 2 of the jet boats. They are covered, they are heated, but please dress in layers, even though the weather is supposed to be good. And if you would like your breakfast to go through Sweet Tides, that would be $15 a person. So you also need to let me know that if you want to opt into the breakfast to go for that field trip, so you can just have it on the boat for you. We also want to thank Alaska Waters and my dad, Jim Leslie, who donated his time to and the shuttle to take the group that went and did the Petroglyph Beach session. So, beginsTina. We have some in-memory donations that I'm going to let Alice read, and then Alice is going to announce the spelling bee winners, and then Sam, you're up. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Again, if you need to go, and that's fine, please make sure if you're on the field trip that you settle up with me, and let me know if you have any questions about that or any accessibility issues. And Alice, I will hand it over to you. And your in memories. Here's your list.
Kashke. Gusu Kashke. Okay. I have two things to announce. My name is Alice Taff. I'm a member of the organizing committee, Kashjak Yechatuasak. And so first I'm going to read the in memory of Thomas Gillen Sr., in memory of Glenda L. McAllister Gillen. Annette Thompson, in memory of Willie Eon. beginsTina. Lynn Allen, in memory of Ginny Allen, Linda Thomason, Glenda Gellen. We didn't get the name of the donator here, but it's in memory of Joanne Lynn Jackson. Yaktashi Lisa DeWitt Norino, Shaga Matthew DeWitt. Yaktashi Lisa DeWitt Norino, in memory of Ka Cha T. Forrest DeWitt Jr. Olga Norris, in memory of Teddy Sims. Natasha Clevenger, in memory of Arnie Dalton. Cynthia DeWitt, in memory of Marion Paul DeWitt. Yaktashi Lisa DeWitt Norino, in memory of Forrest DeWitt Sr. Hinak Tach. Aaron Brackell, in memory of Dorothy Pauline Williams. Solveig Gillen, in memory of Cappy, Margaret, Yvonne, Lewis, and Sina Bakke. Sina Bakke, all the Bakkes, beginsTina. Again, Yaktashi, in memory of I already read that one. The anonymous donor in honor of Cindy Waddington and staff of Nolan Center and the Sharing Our Knowledge Planning Committee. Harriet Miyasatz Balil, in memory of grandparents Chester Worthington and Annie, parents George and Mary Miyasato Johnson, grandson Johnny Josephson, daughter Diane, and son Philip Marino Jr. Satuk Linda Bellardi and Trashke Daphne Wright in memory of Nora and Richard Downhauer. And I was also tasked with giving out the certificates to the winners of the 5th International Tlingit Spelling Bee. But I don't have the certificates. They already got them. So 3rd place, Yedislitzin Millie Hall. And here she is. And the 2nd place, oh, Yakdushe. Yakdushe. Lisa DeWitt Norino. And 1st place,
of the 5th International Tlingit Spelling Bee is Matthew Spellberg.
and so Matthew has not only the certificate saying so, but he will have his portrait painted by Juneau's Yana 8 Barbara Craver.
Memory of Betty Westman and Olga Norris in memory of Teddy Sims.
So don't go away because Frida Westman in memory of Betty Westman and Olga Norris in memory of Teddy Sims. Hooch away. Hooch away for me. Brooke? Brooke, are we done? Sam. Sam, uh-oh. Okay, we left off one in memory of.
Okay. Carol loved who did that. You go ahead, President.
I'm Sue Stevens, President of Clinton Heights Community Council here in Wrangell. And we donated $500 to this for the elders. And we did it in memory of Carol Feller Brady, Elizabeth Kadishan, James, John Paul Feller Jr., his Tlingit name is Gudlau, and Christopher Raymond Feller, and Lou, can you name off the rest? Oh, okay, you added. Oh, Elizabeth Kadishan James, she was, okay. Okay.
So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I'd just like to say, on behalf of our Yukon delegates, thank you very much to our hosts, Wrangell. Thank you for your treatment. Thank you for the fine food. It's very, very nice to be amongst you people. And it's nice to hear that we all want to work together again, where we can become strong like our ancestors were as Tlingit people. And from way back, we believe as Tlingit people, a little humor and a little laughter is a strong medicine. That's why I have to tell you a story about, this one is entitled A Lonely Man and a Seagull. Seagull in our language, the Tlingit language, is Keitledi. Could you guys say it? Keitledi. The Tlingit people always travel. They traveled all around. In one place, they were staying by a lake. It was springtime of the year, and everything started warming up. Even the lake shore started opening up a little bit. But one thing they all of a sudden become aware of, their food supply was running pretty low. So they had to go back to the next camp to get more food. But one man wasn't feeling very good. So he told them, go without me. If I go with you, it's going to hinder your travel and it's going to take you too long. So they told him, oh, we'll leave you some food, what we have, and some medicine. You'll get better. We're just going up and we'll be right back anyway. So they left him, and there he stayed. And next thing, here they were gone way longer than they were supposed to be. And that man, too, he started to get better. But the days went on. He was getting much better, but the only thing that was getting the best of him was loneliness. He was there all alone with nothing else beside him. So one day he didn't know what to do, so he went for a walk on the lake shore. And while he was out there, here a seagull flew over him and just hovered there. He looked up at it and started singing, "Keddle-day, keddle-day, keddle-day." And just then those people were coming back too, and they heard singing coming from their camp. This is the first time they ever heard yodeling. They learned that from a lonely Tlingit man. Thank you.
I don't think I can follow that up, but I just wanted to say before we all go our separate ways that we will be showing some movies tomorrow. They are Indigenous-made films based here in Alaska. One of them was made very close to home on the Stikine. Our own Lovey Brock worked on that. Trixie Bennett, Kirby worked on that as well. When the Salmon Spoke, that will be playing in here at 10 a.m. And then after that, it will be a film made by a woman from Kasan, very nearby on Prince of Wales Island, Marina Anderson, called Setting the Table, and it's about the Tongass roadless rule, but so much more than that. We'll also be showing New Talk about the village that needs to be moved because of erosion and climate change. That will be in room 1, as well as The Witness Blanket again, which was shown last night, and The Land is Ours. So, Gunas Chish, thank you. Good night, everyone.
And just so everyone knows, the film festival tomorrow, that is being put on by the WCA. And so again, Ganeshjish Wrangell Cooperative Association for making that available and part of our conference. I'm sure there are plenty of other people that I have not even come close to thanking yet. And so if I did not specifically mention your name, it's not on purpose. I'm just a little brain dead. I hear that, are you still wanting to do a little drumming circle at some point later somewhere? Yeah, so if you want to drum and sing, that's who you want to talk to.
We'll be outside. You'll hear us.
And that really does conclude our time together here this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of our conference. Gunishchish ho ho, hawa.